Achoo!
I went to the animal fair. The birds and the bees were there. The gay baboon by the light of the moon was combing his auburn hair. The monkey fell out of his bunk and slid down the elephant's trunk. The elephant sneezed
Achoo!
and fell on his knees. And that was the end of the monkey, 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 monk.
Achoo!
I went to the animal fair. The birds and the bees were there. The gay baboon by the light of the moon was combing his auburn hair. The monkey fell out of his bunk and slid down the elephant's trunk. The elephant sneezed
Achoo!
and fell on his knees. And that was the end of the monkey, 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 monk.
If you should meet a crocodile, don't take a stick and poke him. Ignore the welcome in his smile. Be careful not to stroke him. For as he sleeps upon the Nile, he thinner gets and thinner. So whenever you meet a crocodile, he's ready for his dinner.
Look at the terrible crocodile, I-oh, I-oh, I-oh. He's swimming down the river Nile, I-oh, I-oh, I-oh. See, his jaws are open wide, I-oh, I-oh, I-oh. A dear little fish is swimming inside. Oh no, he isn't, he's going the other way. Look at the terrible crocodile, I-oh, I-oh, I-oh. He's swimming down the river Nile, I-oh, I-oh, I-oh.
An elephant goes like this and that. He's terribly big and terribly fat. He has no fingers and has no toes. But goodness gracious, what a long nose!
Elephants, 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 elephants. One elephant went out to play upon the spider's web. elephants went out to play upon the spider's web one day. They found it such enormous fun, but there weren't any more elephants to come. Elephants, 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 elephants.
Down a quiet country lane, deep in the roots of an old tree, lived Country Mouse. One evening, he was surprised to see his cousin Town Mouse coming down the lane to visit him. "Welcome, cousin," said Country Mouse. "You'll love the country. It's so nice and quiet." After a while, Country Mouse made a big supper, but Town Mouse did not like the thick mugs and plates or the plain food. At bedtime, Town Mouse did not like his little straw bed. It made him scratch and sneeze. Achoo! Every morning, Country Mouse was busy finding food for the winter. "Come and help me, cousin," called Country Mouse. But Town Mouse did not like the work, and he did not like getting his hands and clothes dirty. One morning, they crossed the meadow to find some mushrooms for tea. The horse who lived in the meadow came to make friends with the mice. But Town Mouse was so surprised, he fell head over heels into the wet grass. "Ow! I don't like the country," sighed Town Mouse. "It's dark. It's cold, it's wet, and it's too quiet." "Oh, cousin," said Town Mouse, "I am tired of the country. In the town it is warm and dry, and there is no need to look for food. You must come and see for yourself." Later that day, Town Mouse saw the family at the end of the lane getting into the car to go to town.
Bye-bye.
"Come on, Country Mouse," he yelled. "Let's go." They hid in the car and jumped out when they got into town. Poor Country Mouse had never heard so much noise or seen so many lights. They soon arrived at the house where they were greeted by Town Mouse's family. How big the house was! It was all too big for Country Mouse. Town Mouse and his family began to feast on fruit, cakes, chocolate and cream. But it was all too rich and sweet for Country Mouse, and he could hardly eat a thing. It was soon bedtime, but Country Mouse did not like his soft little bed, and he couldn't get to sleep with all the light from the street lamps flooding into his room. Next day, Town Mouse and a tired Country Mouse went for a picnic in the park. But the ducks and geese ate all their food and chased them away. Back at the house, Country Mouse was almost sucked into the carpet cleaner. He was a very unhappy mouse. That night, Country Mouse dreamt of the country and the smell of the earth and the trees. How he wished that he was back at home. In the morning, when Country Mouse woke up, he was surprised to see a big, brightly decorated tree in the room. It was Christmas, and there were lots of parcels under the tree. Town Mouse was standing on top of a large hamper in the middle of the room. "It's going near your home," cried Town Mouse. Country Mouse could at last go home. He said goodbye to his cousin and crawled into the hamper just as it was being put into the van. Country Mouse jumped out of the van as it passed the lane where he lived. Suddenly he heard the church bells ringing. It was Christmas Eve. Country Mouse ran to the church. He knew all his country friends would be there to sing carols. "Come, Country Mouse," said the smallest mouse. "You can spend all Christmas telling us all your great adventures." Country Mouse smiled. All he wanted to do was forget.
There was a monkey climbed up a tree. When he fell down, then down fell he. There was a parrot sat on a stone. When he was gone, then there was none. There was an elephant did eat an apple. When she'd ate two, she'd ate a couple.
Listen to our rattle, listen as we shake. Listen to the sound of the rattlesnakes. We rattle to the rhythm, we rattle to the dance. Listen to the music of the rattlesnake band. Sliding through the jungle, slipping through the sand. The snakes are making music to the rattlesnake band. We rattle to the rhythm, we rattle to the dance. Listen to the music of the rattlesnake band.
I'm a hippopotamus, and there are quite a lot of us, rolling in a muddy pond. It keeps us nice and cool, rolling in a muddy pool, singing a hippopotamus song. La 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 la. La 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 la. I'm a hippopotamus, and there are quite a lot of us, rolling in a muddy pond. It keeps us nice and cool, rolling in a muddy pool, singing a hippopotamus song.
by 3, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in 3 by 3, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in 3 by 3, the wasp, the ant and the bumblebee, and they all went into the ark for to get out of the rain. The animals went in 4 by 4, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in 4 by 4, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in 4 by 4, the great hippopotamus stuck in the door, and they all went into the ark for to get out of the rain. The animals went in 5 by 5, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in 5 by 5, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in 5 by 5, the bees mistook the bear for a hive, and they all went into the ark for to get out of the rain. The animals went in 6 by 6, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in 6 by 6, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in 6 by 6, the hyena laughed at the monkey's tricks, and they all went into the ark for to get out of the rain.
A tiger's in the jungle. Big teeth and stripes you'll see. If you hear a noise like this, run up the nearest tree.
Pretty Polly Parrot perched up in the tree, talking to everyone that she sees. Look at my feathers of yellow and green. Am I not the brightest bird you've ever seen? Pretty Polly Parrot, yellow and green. She's the brightest bird that you've ever seen. Pretty Polly Parrot, yellow and green. She's the brightest bird that you've ever seen. Pretty Polly Parrot wanted to be on the pirate ship sailing far at sea, looking for treasure on a sea of green. I'll be the bravest bird that you've ever seen. Pretty Polly Parrot on the sea of green. She's the bravest bird that you've ever seen. Pretty Polly Parrot on the sea of green. She's the bravest bird you've ever seen. Pretty Polly Parrot hadn't got a care, flying around from here to there. See her pretty feathers of yellow and green. She's the finest bird that you've ever seen. Pretty Polly Parrot, yellow and green. She's the finest bird that you've ever seen. Pretty Polly Parrot, yellow and green. She's the finest bird that you've ever seen. Pretty Polly Parrot, yellow and green. She's the finest bird that you've ever seen. Pretty Polly Parrot, yellow and green. She's the finest bird that you've ever seen.
Little Poll Parrot sat in his garret, eating toast and tea. A little brown mouse jumped into his house and stole it all away.
Brown bear snoring in his winter sleep. Brown bear snoring in his winter sleep. But snow and ice are melting, icicles are dropping. Brown bear's ears are listening and his eyes begin to peep. Brown bear snoring in his winter sleep. Brown bear snoring in his winter sleep. But snow and ice are melting, icicles are dropping. Brown bear's ears are listening and his eyes begin to peep.
The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain to see what he could see. But all that he could see, but all that he could see was the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain was all that he could see. The bear walked over the mountain. The bear walked over the mountain. The bear walked over the mountain to see what he could see. But all that he could see, but all that he could see was the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain was all that he could see. The bear ran over the mountain. The bear ran over the mountain. The bear ran over the mountain to see what he could see. But all that he could see, but all that he could see was the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain was all that he could see. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain. The bear went over the mountain to see what he could see. But all that he could see, but all that he could see was the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain, the other side of the mountain was all that he could see.
Once upon a time, in a far-off distant land, there was a little girl called Goldilocks who lived near a wood. She was called Goldilocks because she had beautiful long golden hair. One day, Goldilocks went into the woods to gather flowers. As she wandered amongst the trees, she came upon a little house standing in a clearing. The door of the house was open, so Goldilocks peeped inside. No one seemed to be at home. "I wonder who lives here," she thought. Inside the house, she saw 3 bowls of porridge on a table. There was a great big bowl, a medium-sized bowl, and a tiny little bowl. Goldilocks was feeling quite hungry, and the porridge did smell good. So she tried the porridge in the great big bowl, but it was too hot. She tried the porridge in the medium-sized bowl, but it was too cold. Then she tried the porridge in the tiny bowl, and it was just right. So she ate it all up. Goldilocks then looked around the room and noticed 3 chairs. There was a great big chair, a medium-sized chair, and a small chair. Goldilocks tried the great big chair, but it was too hard. She then tried the middle-sized chair, but it was too soft. So she tried the small chair, which was just right. But when she sat down in it, it broke, and Goldilocks landed on the floor with a crash. Goldilocks was by now very tired, and she went into another room, where she saw 3 beds. One was a great big bed, another was a middle-sized bed, and the third was a tiny little bed. She tried the biggest bed, but it was too hard, and the middle-sized bed was too soft, but the tiny little bed was just right. It was so comfortable that she fell fast asleep. While Goldilocks was sleeping, the owners of the little house came home. They were 3 bears, a daddy bear, a mummy bear, and a little baby bear. They had been out for a walk, and now looked forward to eating their porridge. Daddy Bear looked at his bowl and said, "Who's been eating my porridge?" Mummy Bear said, "Who's been eating my porridge?" And Baby Bear said, "Who's been eating my porridge?" Then they looked at their chairs. "Who's been sitting in my chair?" said Daddy Bear. "And who's been sitting in my chair?" said Mummy Bear. And Baby Bear said, "Who's been sitting in my chair? It's all broken." The 3 bears went into their bedroom. "Who's been lying on my bed?" said Daddy Bear. "And who's been lying on my bed?" said Mummy Bear. "And who's been lying on my bed?" said Baby Bear. "Look, she's still there. It's a little girl." At that moment, Goldilocks woke up. It gave her such a fright to see 3 bears looking at her that she jumped out of the nearest window and ran back home as fast as she could go. And Goldilocks never again went to the little house where the 3 bears lived.
Slippery Sam was a slippery seal, and a slippery seal was he. He slithered and slid to the sandy shore, then he slipped back into the sea.
The leopard's coat is spotty, the tiger's coat is striped, the panther's coat is very dark, to hide him in the night. The cheetah likes to run fast, the puma likes to leap, the jaguar travels far, the lion likes to sleep.
I am the king, roared the lion one day. He frightened all the animals and they ran away. If I am a king, I should have a crown. I'll go to the jeweller's shop, and off he went to town. Make me a crown, roared the lion with a shout. The jeweller said, "You're very rude," and kicked the lion out.